Hey guys, Sinister here at BadCompanyGaming, and this time we're going to be looking at the AUGA3, almost said reviewing and then changed it to looking at. Doesn't matter, we're going to be looking at the AUGA3 this time, and we're going to be starting a new series called the Mastery Dog Tag Series for Battlefield 4 Weapon Mastery. We're going to call it something like that. And it's basically where you guys go down to the comments box and tell me a weapon that you want me to master. I'm going to have a list of the weapons that I don't have mastered in the description for you guys to look at, and it should be a really fun way for me to gain the motivation that I need to master all of the weapons in the game. And there are certainly some weapons out there that I think that are perfectly adequate, and I just don't have much reason to use them on a regular basis, which is why I haven't mastered them so far. And let's be honest, we're always looking for something a little bit different to kind of change our gameplay experience, and this is definitely going to be a good one. So yeah, we're looking at the AUGA3, and if we pull up its stats on Simtic.com, we're going to see some very, very average statistics. Same damage model as every other assault rifle out there, nothing crazy there. The fire rate is 700, which puts it right in the middle of average, I would say. It's a little bit on the low side. There are some rifles out there that shoot up to 1,000 rounds per minute, but then we also have weapons like this SIR-21 that shoot right around 600. So it's certainly no slouch in the rate of fire department, but it's certainly not the quickest either. And I say that this has got to be one of the weapon's drawbacks for me, because with its recoil pattern and the way it fires, I just feel like it needs to have a little bit more rate of fire compared to something like the M416, because I feel like this rifle really should be competing with that weapon, but because of its lower rate of fire, I've just been picking the 416 almost every single time. And speaking of things where the AUGA3 just falls a little bit short of expectations, we can look at the aim down sight's accuracy of 0.25, which is just a little bit lower than the average accuracy of most assault rifles. This really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because the AUGA3 has one of the longest barrels I've ever seen on any assault rifle. I'm sorry. I'm almost certain that it is the longest barrel out of any of the assault rifles out there. I have a little bit of a cough. It's hopefully not going to be too annoying. And then one more category to talk about where it falls short is the reload times. I cannot tell you how many times I've got stuck trying to reload this darn thing and been like, oh, if I'd had my M16 I could have totally wasted that guy. But instead I just had to get bullet smacked in the face because I'm in the middle of watching a 3.1 second long reload time and then a 2.5 second short reload time. So this rifle certainly has some awful drawbacks that make you feel like you just should have never picked it up in the first place. But for some reason, all of this averageness and all of this coming up just a little bit short makes a rifle that actually is quite fun to use. It's certainly not the best rifle out there. I would pick the M16 over it every single day, as well as the M416. And heck, for me, the AEK just fits my playstyle so much better than the AUG does that I would almost pick it every single day. But I can see how for a lot of people, this would just be that perfect balance of easy to use, accurate, good hip fire, decent mobility. I mean, it does come together into somewhat of a rather good rifle. And for everyone that really likes the AR-160, unless you're just totally bewildered by that .05 difference in aim down sights accuracy, I would pick this over the AR-160 day in and day out. It has so much less recoil, so much better hip fire. It's really just hard to compare the two rifles, even though they have the same rate of fire and same damage model. So there's definitely a lot at play here, but I'd say overall the AUG has actually turned out to be one of my favorite assault rifles to use in Battlefield 4. Now, only certain game modes. I tried playing Team Deathmatch and Domination with this gun, and it just wasn't working out very well. It's just a little bit too close to take advantage of it, and like I said, 700 rate of fire is definitely no slouch, but it's certainly not enough to keep up with something like the AEK or the M16A4. So you definitely run into some troubles of just being straight up outgunned in close quarters. It really is hard to call it fair, but at the same time, I mean, it was your decision for picking a long-range assault rifle and trying to make it work on Domination. So definitely stick to longer-range game modes like Rush, Obliteration, Conquest Large. The Dragon's Teeth DLC maps are actually quite perfect for the AUG, with the exception of Pearl Market. And for some dumb reason, even though I don't like this rifle on that map, it was my best gameplay clip, so you're going to see me using the rifle on the map that I don't think it's suited for, which is kind of funny how that works, but just how your team is cooperating can totally change how the flow of the game goes, and totally, just backs up my whole theory that playing Battlefield is a complete crapshoot. You never know what you're going to get. You kind of sound like Forrest Gump with this box of chocolates. One match could just be totally epic steamroll, which I in my opinion, that's not epic. I hate it either way. And then the next game is just such a hard-fought battle. It's so awesome. And then you get another steamroll, and you're like, gosh, this is just so lame, you know? So with Battlefield, it's definitely not easy to try to collect enough gameplay to put up these videos whenever the gameplay itself is such a crapshoot. And, you know, here we're going to see a pretty good display of its versatility. You saw some long-range kills a second ago, and we're going to get some extreme close-quarter kills here. I guess you could call it extreme close quarters. It's a very aggressive playstyle I'm trying to play here. I was playing a little bit conservatively earlier, but these roof campers were just getting so annoying, and they were really preventing us from gaining any ground on this Charlie objective. So I was like, you know what, screw it, we're just gonna go up there and take care of them. And then I make a very strong offense onto the Charlie objective itself. And you get a bit of a medium range kill down here. Wasn't sure that there was a ledge there. Go ahead and drop down, but yeah, you can just sort of get a pretty decent picture of how versatile the weapon is. It does pretty good in close quarters as long as you get the jump on them, but I'd say medium range is definitely this weapon's strong suit. But then that just sort of swings it back around to what are some other weapons where you feel like medium range is their strong suit. Well, we got the M416, we have the M16A4, which admitted is really good at long range too, but then you just sort of wind up with this rifle that doesn't really serve much of a purpose unless you really like it aesthetically, which I certainly could understand why. And here we are, getting our final long-range kill up here on the rooftop. Gotta kill that roof camper before we get our AUGA3 Mastery dog tags, and you can see the wonderful aesthetic look of this rifle. It is quite a pretty rifle, and my blue sky camo definitely shows up well to the point that I'm sure I was giving myself away more than I was concealing myself with this bright camo. But I don't really care, because I like blue and it looks good on that rifle, so you know what, say what you want, I like the blue. In fact, I run that blue on my tanks, which probably is a terrible idea because people can see that thing from like across the map. But either way, getting that Mastery dog tag makes you feel like you really know a rifle. After 500 kills, you're going to know the weapon's strengths and weaknesses. You're going to know how to set up the rifle. You may not have tried every setup on the planet, but you're going to have a pretty darn good idea of what it is you like to run on that particular weapon. And for me, I gotta say that my preferred setup while playing was the vertical grip and the Cobra sight. You guys know I don't particularly care for flashlights or lasers, and I didn't unlock the flash hider until my very last battle pack unlock after I got my Mastery dog tags at 510 kills. So to say the least, I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't get to use my flash hider in the gameplay, but at the same time, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. It just is for extra concealment purposes, which, once again, bright blue camo kind of eliminates that whole idea or that whole prospect. So yeah, I think that the AUGA3 is definitely a very average and adequate rifle. It's not particularly great in any category, but for some reason it is just a blast to use once you get used to it and set it up right. So overall, I'd say I have a pretty good review on the AUGA3. I don't know that I'll ever really use it this way again, but I'm glad that I did use it this time. So I hope that you guys enjoy this new series. It is a bit of a copy, but at the same time I have very different opinions on rifles than Level Cap does, so you guys might like to have a second opinion on certain weapons. Like I said, go down to the comments box below, tell me what weapon you want to see mastered next time, and then I will catch you guys then. Take it easy.